In 1967, 30 black men walked into the California state capitol carrying loaded rifles, completely legally. Within weeks, one of the most powerful governments on earth scrambled to change the law. Why? Because when black Americans exercised the same Second Amendment rights white militias had used for centuries, the entire system revealed what it had always been: a weapon designed to keep some people armed and others defenseless. To understand why armed black men terrified America, you have to understand Oakland in the 1960s. After World War II, black families fled the Jim Crow South by the thousands, searching for something that had been denied to them for generations: opportunity, safety, dignity. Cities like Oakland promised a new beginning, a chance to build something better. But what they found wasn't freedom. It was a different kind of terror, one without white hoods, but just as deadly. The Oakland Police Department didn't serve black neighborhoods. It occupied them. Officers rolled through like soldiers in enemy territory, and every interaction was a potential death sentence. A broken taillight could become a beating. A question could become a bullet. By 1966, Oakland police were killing one black person every 3 weeks. The courts did nothing. The press looked away. And the message was crystal clear: you have no rights we are bound to respect. Two young men, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, watched their community bleed. They were college students, activists, angry but strategic. They didn't just want to protest, they wanted to stop the violence. So they did something that would change American history forever. They read the law, page by page, statute by statute, searching for anything that could protect black lives in a system designed to destroy them. And then they found it. California law allowed open carry. Any citizen could legally carry a loaded firearm in public as long as it wasn't concealed and wasn't brandished threateningly. The same right white Americans had used for centuries to form militias, patrol their neighborhoods, and terrorize black voters during Reconstruction. Newton and Seale realized something revolutionary. If white men could carry guns to intimidate, black men could carry guns to protect. In October 1966, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was born. They created the 10-point program, a list of demands that sounds radical only because America had denied black people the basics for so long: jobs, housing, education, an end to police brutality. But the revolutionary part wasn't the words on paper. It was how they planned to enforce them. The Panthers began doing something Oakland had never seen. They followed police cars. When officers pulled over black residents, Panthers would park nearby, step out with rifles and shotguns clearly visible, and watch. They'd stand at a legal distance, law books open, observing everything. If police challenged them, Panthers would recite California penal codes verbatim, calmly explaining that they had every legal right to be there. They called it policing the police, and it worked. For the first time in Oakland's history, police couldn't brutalize black residents without witnesses. They couldn't intimidate or silence. Officers who were used to operating with absolute impunity suddenly had to follow the rules. Violence dropped. The community noticed. Word spread like wildfire. Within months, the Black Panther Party grew from 30 members to hundreds. Black Oakland finally had protection. But white Oakland had something else: panic. Because suddenly, the comfortable lies America told itself were collapsing. This wasn't about whether black people deserved rights. Everyone knew they did, at least in theory, at least on paper. The real question, the one white America had never had to face so directly, was whether the system would tolerate black people defending those rights by force. And the answer came faster than anyone expected. California Assemblyman Don Mulford, a conservative from Oakland, introduced a bill in early 1967. It would ban the open carry of loaded firearms in public. The language was carefully neutral, but everyone knew the target: This law existed for one reason: to disarm the Black Panthers. The bill moved quickly through committee, heading for a vote at the state capitol in Sacramento. Bobby Seale and the Panther leadership faced a choice. They could let the law pass quietly and watch their only defense stripped away, or they could make a statement so bold that America would never forget it. On May 2, 1967, 30 Black Panthers, men and women dressed in black leather jackets and berets, walked into the California state capitol carrying loaded rifles, shotguns, and pistols. They moved through the marble halls with purpose, past lawmakers who froze in disbelief, past security guards who had no legal grounds to stop them. Everything they were doing was completely legal. When they reached the assembly chamber, Bobby Seale stood on the Capitol steps and read a message directly into news cameras. The American people in general, and the black people in particular, must take careful note of the racist California legislature, which is now considering legislation aimed at keeping black people disarmed and powerless. The photos ricocheted around the world. Armed black men inside a government building. White Americans watched their televisions in absolute horror, seeing black citizens exercise the exact same constitutional rights that white militias had flaunted for generations. And here's where the mask came off. Governor Ronald Reagan, who would later become president on a platform of limited government and individual freedom, was at that time one of the staunchest defenders of gun rights in America. He was a lifetime NRA supporter who had campaigned on protecting Second Amendment freedoms. But when he saw those photos, when he watched black men assert those same freedoms, Reagan's position changed overnight. He immediately endorsed the Mulford Act. Within weeks, it passed the California legislature with bipartisan support. Reagan signed it into law with cameras rolling. Open carry was now illegal in California. The same politicians who had spent careers defending gun rights as sacred American freedoms suddenly supported strict gun control. The same citizens who praised armed militias as patriotic now demanded disarmament. The system revealed itself with perfect clarity. The Second Amendment was never a universal right. It was a privilege reserved for those the system trusted to enforce white supremacy. But the story doesn't end with a law. It ends with annihilation. The FBI, under J. Edgar Hoover, launched COINTELPRO, a covert program designed to neutralize what Hoover called black identity extremists. The Panthers became target number one. Federal agents didn't just surveil them. They infiltrated their organization with informants. They fabricated evidence. They coordinated violent police raids designed to look like shootouts. In December 1969, Chicago police murdered Fred Hampton, a 21-year-old Panther leader, in his bed while he slept. He was drugged by an FBI informant hours earlier to ensure he wouldn't wake up. They shot him twice in the head at point-blank range. His pregnant girlfriend survived by pretending to be dead. The police claimed it was a gunfight. Ballistics later proved the Panthers fired one shot. Police fired over 90. By 1982, the Black Panther Party was functionally destroyed, not by public rejection, but by systematic government dismantling. And here's what history books won't tell you, what they desperately want you to forget. The Panthers' free breakfast program fed 20,000 children every single day. It was so successful, so necessary, that the United States government adopted it as the national school breakfast program still used today. Their free health clinics tested over 50,000 people for sickle cell anemia, creating the first mass screening program in American history when the medical establishment ignored the disease because it primarily affected black people. Their community survival programs became the blueprint for organizing models used by activists across the world. The Black Panthers weren't just carrying guns and making demands. They were building an alternative system, proving that black communities could survive, even thrive, without depending on institutions designed to oppress them. They were showing America that black people didn't need white saviors or patient reform. They could save themselves, and that's why they had to be destroyed. White America didn't panic because black men had guns. Armed white militias had existed since before the country was founded. The Ku Klux Klan terrorized black communities for a century, with complete impunity. Right-wing groups still parade through streets with assault rifles, calling it freedom. White America panicked because the Black Panthers proved the system was never about rights or freedom or constitutional principles. It was about power. It was about control. And when black people stopped asking for permission and started taking what was legally theirs, the entire facade crumbled. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense existed for 15 years. In that time, they were labeled terrorists, criminals, and existential threats to American democracy. But they never stormed a government building to overturn an election. They never lynched anyone. They never bombed a church full of children. They fed the hungry. They provided health care to the sick. They educated their communities about rights and power and history. They protected people who had never known protection. And for that, they were systematically destroyed by the most powerful government on earth. This isn't ancient history gathering dust in archives. Many of the laws created to dismantle the Panthers still exist. The surveillance systems built to infiltrate them evolved into the mass incarceration complex. The fear tactics used against them echo in every tough-on-crime political campaign. The same arguments used to justify their destruction are recycled today against every movement demanding black liberation. The Black Panthers didn't fail. They were defeated by a system that could not allow black people to defend themselves, educate themselves, and empower themselves, because that system only functions when some people remain powerless. Erased history isn't erased by accident. It's erased because the truth is dangerous. And the most dangerous truth of all is this: Black Americans have always known how to save themselves. They've just never been allowed to.